And here we go. This is it, folks. This is the game that decides it all. This is the moment you have all been waiting for. This is the moment I've been waiting for. And it's time now to talk about it. Bears, Packers, Sunday Night Football. Bears win, and they're in the playoffs. So let's talk about it. What is going on, y'all? Faiz Sports Talk back at it with another video. Talking, of course, some NFL here to talk about the Bears. In case you have not understood or realized it by now. But if you are a Bears fan, make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel, man. I still continue my Bears videos in the offseason. Hopefully that offseason doesn't come anytime soon. But I'm just letting you know I'm still here. So make sure to go ahead and subscribe. And make sure you are following me, guys, on my social media. Links down below for my Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. Okay. I'm nervous, man. I got to tell you, I'm nervous. This is the biggest game of the Bears season here. Week 17 now. There are scenarios, obviously, where we can lose to the Packers and still get in the playoffs. But I'll talk about that in a second. But we all know a win would seal it. So, do I think the Bears beat the Packers on Sunday Night Football? Let's find out. All right, so I'm going to get to the score prediction at the end. Don't you worry. I will give my prediction on, obviously, if the Bears win or lose this game to the Packers. So, trust me, you're going to want to stick around till the very end. But I got to give you my keys for this game, right? I got to tell you how the heck the Bears even beat this Packers team, which looks unstoppable right now. They're on a hot streak, a winning streak. Aaron Rodgers looks like it most probably will win the MVP. Like, this Packers team is just on fire, right? So how do you even think about stopping them? Let's talk about that. So I went back and looked at all of the games the Packers lost. I went back and looked at, what was the things that those teams did for the Packers to lose those games. And it was funny what I found out, because there were some things, some trends that were very alarming to me and made the game plan very clear. Like, the keys I'm about to give you for the Bears aren't actually going to be incredibly surprising, but when you see the manner in which the Packers have lost, it's the same formula to beat them. It's literally the same formula. That's how they've got those 3 losses that they have on the year. And of course, there's been some close games, but I'm only talking about the 3 losses. So going back, watching the tape, looking at the stats, looking at what was the difference, there's really the same type of trends and things that keep happening for the Packers to lose. All right, so that starts with my number 1 key, which has been a strength of the Bears now for the last couple of games. And you guys probably know where I'm going with this one, because I've been saying it all year. Run the damn football, okay? So hear me out. Before I even talk about the Bears running the football, let's take a look at the Packers against the run in those 3 losses, okay? So the Packers have losses to the Bucs, to the Vikings, and to the Colts, okay? Do you want to know the numbers of the running backs in those 3 games and how they ran? Well, I got you right here, okay? So these are the 3 losses. Hopefully you can see that. I wish I could. But focus right here on this. This is the important part right here. Ronald Jones in the first Packers loss to the Bucs, 23 carries for 113 yards. Dalvin Cook, 30 carries for 163 yards, 3 touchdowns. He also had another touchdown receiving-wise. He had a monster game that we got to remember, because I didn't play him in fantasy, but in daily fantasy, but that's neither here nor there. And then Jonathan Taylor, 22 carries for 90 yards. So the least impressive game. But what do you see here? Look at those rushing numbers. Look at them. And really understand that that is how you beat the Green Bay Packers. Every single one of those 3 teams ran the football down the Packers' throat, and that's what the Bears should be doing. So that's key number 1 by far and away, which I believe the Bears will do this, because this has been their identity for the last couple weeks now, and it's setting up really well because David Montgomery's been on fire. He's been running the football really well. Our offensive line is playing well, so I feel really good about this key. Early on in the season, I wasn't feeling good. Right now, I feel really good about this key. And another thing that is based off of this key is the fact that the Packers getting gashed through the run kind of extends the game, for the other team, in which it keeps Aaron Rodgers off the field, right? So we want to be able to waste clock and control clock, right? And that's how you do it, by running the football. So these long, 10 to 15 play drives where you just keep running it down their throat, their defense gets tired. That's the other thing the run game does. So not only is it a weakness of the Packers because their run D isn't very good, but it's also because it wastes clock and it keeps, more importantly, Aaron Rodgers off the damn field. All right, so that's a win-win in itself. All right, so that's key number one, running the football. Shouldn't surprise anybody, and I'm actually very happy I saw this trend because that is actually what the Bears should be doing. So now we know for a fact that they will be doing that. Key number two, no turnovers. All right, another simple one, but this is another trend that kept popping up in the Packers' losses. All right, Tom Brady in the first game, no turnovers, no picks. All right, when the Bucks beat the Packers. Kirk Cousins, no turnovers, no picks. Basically let Dalvin Cook do everything. In the Colts game, I believe Phillip Rivers did have one pick, but he had 3 touchdowns. So even if the turnovers come, make them very minimal. And this is a big part of what the Packers do. They did this against the Titans on Sunday Night Football. The Packers basically try to get you out of your game plan by throwing the football, right? So they want you to throw, especially if you're a running team, like the Titans were with Derrick Henry, right? How did they get the Titans out of the game plan? Basically, the first couple of drives, boom, 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 Rodgers, Adams, TD. Now it's 19 zip. Oh, we can't run the football with Derrick Henry anymore. I guess we got to air it out. But that's not what the Titans do. And now you're all discombobulated. That's what the Packers want to do. They want to get you out of your game plan. And that's why the Bears have to be very, very, very careful not turning the football over. I'm looking at you, Mitch, all right, because you've been playing your best football of your career as of late. But there's still some boneheaded interceptions that you have been throwing that need to be, removed. Like, the one in the interception in the end zone, another one to A-Rob on the left side. Like, those need to be out. No way we do that against Packers. In fact, I would rather, again, I'm not saying we don't want Mitch to, throw the football at all. I would rather, us take more of a conservative approach so that we can limit Mitch throwing any interceptions. Because he threw 2 against the Packers earlier this year when we played them. And that was the reason we lost that game. That game was over by like halftime because Mitch threw the football away. Our defense couldn't stop Aaron Rodgers and that offense. And that's all she wrote, folks. So no turnovers. I'm not even talking about limit turnovers. No turnovers. Because Aaron Rodgers doesn't throw picks, so we're not going to get turnovers from the Packers. I'd love to get some turnovers from the Packers, but Aaron Rodgers just doesn't throw picks. So no turnovers from our side because they're not going to turn the football over. And finally, my last key is basically this. We got to make Aaron Rodgers uncomfortable, folks. All right, and the Bears lost the Packers earlier this season. Davante Adams did not have a huge game. He had 6 catches for 61 yards and a touchdown. And actually, one of my keys was going to be to double Davante because, he's been ripping apart the league. And obviously the numbers he's put up are crazy. And while I do agree that you want to take away Davante Adams, Aaron Rodgers was still able to have 4 touchdowns against the Bears. He threw one to Robert Tonyan and a couple others, to other players. But point being is Aaron Rodgers, 0 sacks to Aaron Rodgers that game. Like, Aaron Rodgers definitely needs Davante Adams, but it's not like he's garbage without him, okay? There's other guys he'll find and throw it to them. So we need to make Aaron Rodgers uncomfortable, right? Absolutely. Focus on Davante, double him if you have to, but it's more about Rodgers than it is about Davante. We need to make Aaron Rodgers uncomfortable. We need to get pressure in his face. We need to get some sacks. And this is the part that scares me. This, I think, out of all the keys, scares me the most, right? Because we've been running the football. We can make it so that Mitch obviously doesn't throw a lot, so that will limit the turnovers. But can we really make Aaron Rodgers uncomfortable when our defense has been looking so suspect? That's the part that scares me. So if Aaron Rodgers is not on his back as much as we want, because we keep hitting him, then he's just going to sit back there and rip us apart. And funny enough, people want to say that, this Packers team always beats the Bears. Well, back in 2018, we did beat the Packers. And how did we do it? All right. It was a very close game, 24-17, I believe. We beat the Packers. And I think I was to win the division. Good times, by the way. We beat the Packers because Aaron Rodgers had no touchdowns that game. He had no touchdowns and he had a pick. We made him uncomfortable. We got 4 sacks on him that game. That is what we need to do against Aaron Rodgers on Sunday. If we can't get any pressure, Aaron Rodgers will just rip you apart. Now we're in a shootout, and we don't want that. All right? I get it. The Bears have been scoring 4 to 30 points every single week, but we don't want to be in a shootout with Aaron Rodgers, okay? We'd rather, obviously win ugly than lose in a shootout. All right? I'll take a W any way I can get. So, yeah, folks, we got to make Aaron Rodgers uncomfortable. Honestly, that's what the Bucs did. I mean, that was the worst game he played all season. 160 yards, no TDs, 2 interceptions. He was flat out awful, right? And if you take a look at all those losses, the Bucs game, he was uncomfortable. The Bucs defense made life just awful for him. The Vikings game, he wasn't able to get the football enough, I feel like, because Dalvin Cook was just running it. And then the Colts game, we're talking about pretty much a bit of a shootout here, but the Colts squeak out at the end, right? So those are 3 different ways kind of to beat the Packers, but essentially I want it to be a little lower scoring. I want to run the football. I want to limit turnovers, and I want to make Aaron Rodgers uncomfortable. That's what I want. Those are my keys. All right, so here we go. Moment of truth. What do I have happening in this game? Do I have the Bears beating the Packers or not? So if you guys have followed me, recently, or if you guys have followed me for a while, hopefully you should know I always make my picks objectively. Okay? Objectively, I try not to have any biases in them. I've picked against the Bears plenty of times this season. Plenty of times, okay? And we also know that it's not just about this game. If the Cardinals, lose to the Rams, then they will, be out and Bears get in no matter what, right? The Bears could lose to the Packers. They'll still get in if the Cardinals lose. But the Cardinals got a big break because Jared Goff is going to be out for the Rams, and now they're going to start a backup quarterback who's never thrown a football in the NFL ever. So just saying. So that's going to be obviously tough. But in terms of this game, folks, I told you, the thing that scares me the most is our defense. Which defense is going to show up? If we get the elite defense from the first half of this year, I'd feel very good about our chances. But if we get the defense that has been the defense as of late, I don't know how you beat this Packers team. Because, again, even in the last Packers game, we lost 41-25. Our defense couldn't do anything. I will say our offense was certainly at fault there because Mitch threw the ball away too much, and we didn't put up points, enough. But our defense was more at fault here. So I say all that to say this, and I'm not stalling. I'm telling you, I'm not stalling. But I say all that to say is this: Matt Nagy knows his job could potentially be on the line. Mitch Trubisky knows his career with the Bears could be on the line. Ryan Pace knows his career, and certainly in Chicago, could be on the line. And I could say is on the line for all 3 of those guys, not to say other players as well. But when we're talking about pressure, when we're talking about desperation, what are we really talking about here? The Packers are playing for the number 1 seed. If they lose this game, maybe they fall to 2, maybe they fall to 3, and they don't get a bye. But let me ask you this. Would the Packers rather, get the 2 and 3 seed and keep Aaron Rodgers healthy and their starters healthy? Yeah, absolutely. So all I'm saying is the level of desperation we know is certainly higher for one team versus the other. We're not just talking about the Bears getting in the playoffs, folks. This is the difference between people having their jobs. I'm serious here. This is literally the difference. So I believe Matt Nagy is not going to get any amount of sleep this week. Same with Mitchell Trubisky. Same with the Bears players. They're going to be up every single night looking at the tape, figuring out how to beat this damn Packers team. And for this next week, the entire mission for every Bears players, every coach, every executive for the Bears, I believe, is going to be how to beat this Packers team. And for that reason, I truly believe in my heart that the Bears can and will win on Sunday. 24-21. I have them winning on a Cairo Santos last-second field goal. I think the defense plays inspired. I think they understand that this is it. This is the season here. The Cardinals are playing at the same time they are, so we can't even worry about them or watch their game. We have to literally pretend like it's win and you're in, losing you're out. All right? Because you can't focus on the Cardinals because they're playing at the same time as you. So the defense hopefully comes out inspired. We get a big game from hopefully some of our big names like Khalil Mack, like Robert Quinn. Roquan's been a beast all year. Hopefully Jalen Johnson plays. So hopefully our defense shows up and shows out. And I believe they're more of a key for us in this game than our offense is. Hopefully David Montgomery has a big game. I need more than 11 carries that he got last time. I know he had over 100 yards, but 11 carries is certainly not enough. I need 20, 25 plus. Easy. So I think because of the level of desperation, because of how badly I believe this Bears team wants it, because of how well they're playing, because of all of those things combined, I believe the Bears beat the Green Bay Packers 24-21, folks. And remember this and understand this. Division games are always tricky. If a team makes their Super Bowl a game like the Bengals did to the Steelers, then they can do the impossible. And that, to me, was a way bigger upset than this would be if the Bears beat the Packers. The line's at about like 5.5 in favor of the Packers. That line was like 12-13 when the Bengals beat the Steelers miraculously. So you got to get physical. You got to put Aaron Rodgers on his back, make him uncomfortable. But ultimately, I believe the Bears do it. They beat the Green Bay Packers 24-21 and advance to the playoffs. So let me know what you guys think about that, man. Let me get your thoughts. Do you guys think I'm crazy? I hope not. I really do believe it. I wouldn't tell you if I didn't. So let me know down below in the comments, man, and show me some love on the social media. I appreciate you guys, and I will talk to you guys soon.